Good evening, Port St. Lucie. It's me, your mayor, Greg Oravec, and on behalf of our 5-person city council, more than 1,100 city employees and 200,000 residents, it's my pleasure to wish you a happy new year and to update you on the state of our city. Given that we're here in the chambers and the nearest employee seems to be a good 10 feet away, and that we have 2 air filtration units in the chambers, I'm going to go ahead and take my mask off at this time. And what I'd like to say is that even in difficult times and under unusual circumstances, as is indicated by that mask and the configuration of this room, it's a great honor. Even then, it's a great honor and privilege to deliver the PSL's State of the City message. As we get going here, I just want to make sure that I recognize a number of people. I would like to recognize City Council members Pickett and Carballo, City Manager Russ Blackburn, City Attorney Jim Stokes, Budget Advisory Board members. We have Ray Pezzi, we have Mike Bernard, I think we have one Lynette Marafa back there. We have the Chairman of the Humane Society Board of Directors, Dan Wire. We have my incredible wife, Tanya, and my one and only daughter, Caitlin, aka Peanut. And I'd like to give you special thanks to you and everyone for attending personally and for your dedication to our community as we continue to work hard, smart, and together on building an even better PSL. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here personally because it just doesn't feel the same talking to a camera. So even though we couldn't have the usual crowd, thank you for making the effort to be here and so that there's some energy and feeling excited about building a better Port St. Lucie. I'd also like to thank our incredible communications team who helped me prepare this presentation and produce tonight's event. Thank you, Sarah. I think Nicole is out there somewhere. Maureen, Ben. Ben is probably, I don't know, he's probably trying to get his heart rate down right now. It's always very stressful for Ben. Matt, Avi, Gus, and everyone else who gave a helping hand. Thank you. Thank you to my assistant, Daisy Ruiz. And as a preface, I want to take this opportunity to explain that the very existence of our city of Port St. Lucie, its boundaries and form of government, is set forth by our city charter, and it's fair to think of the charter like a city constitution and like our country's constitution. And just like our country's constitution, I would recommend that you try to read it every so often, maybe once a year, especially this year because we're likely to convene a charter review committee as one of our work items. And the charter can be found right on our website. And as you'll note, and as the people in this, so many of the people in this room know, our charter provides for a council manager form of government in which the city council consists of 4 district council members and a mayor, all to be elected at large on a nonpartisan basis by the voters of the city. And the city council is our government city legislature. In this system, unlike the strong mayor form of government that we see on TV, or that many of us may have experienced in cities before we moved to Port St. Lucie, the administrative authority of our city government is not vested in the office of mayor, but in the office of city manager. And the city manager is responsible to the city council as a whole, or in brass tax situations, a majority, in our case, 3 of 5. And that's why there's an old joke in the city manager business that a city manager has to be able to count to 3, or to whatever that majority number is on a given legislative body. The city manager is responsible for the administration of all city affairs placed in his or her charge by the charter. As a result, the city manager is the supervisor of all city employees, except for the city attorney, and technically like a deputy city attorney, responsible for hiring and firing, the drafting of the city budget, leading our emergency response, and the many other administrative duties in a city like the city of Port St. Lucie, as prescribed by our charter. In fact, it's important to point out that there is a separation of powers between our legislative and administrative branches. And as Councilwoman Carballo knows, it's very explicit and not to be trifled with, as Section 3.07 of our charter states that, except for the purposes of inquiries relating to present or proposed legislation, the council or its members shall deal with the city officers and employees who are subject to the direction and supervision of the manager solely through the city manager. And neither the council nor its members shall give orders to any such officer or employee, either publicly or privately. And that is administrative interference Can't do that. The city manager is appointed and serves at the will of the council, as does the city attorney, who is not the city's judicial branch, but rather our corporation's general counsel. And I think we have a slide in here of this bunch. There they are now. And I would encourage you and all the residents of Port St. Lucie to get to know them, if you don't already, in the hopes that it will strengthen our continuing collaboration to build an even better PSL. And of course, in addition to our charter officials, there are hundreds of public servants doing the good work of the people, your work. In fact, there are over 1,100 city employees at this time, and I want to take this opportunity to thank our hardworking city employees personally. And if you wouldn't mind, even though we're not that many in here, giving them a hand. They've been doing their very best to serve our community in the face of unprecedented difficulties. And while our charter sets forth a council-manager form of government, students of city government may pick up on the fact that it's modified from a pure council-manager form, in that the mayor is independently elected by the people, not appointed by the city council, and is prescribed specific duties, which include presenting an annual State of the City message. And this year's State of the City message, or at least part of it, is actually 2020's delayed. Last year at this time, in anticipation of a State of the City message that I planned on delivering in April, I was reflecting on our 2019 and where we might be headed in 2020. My main talking points sounded something like this. It may be familiar to some of you. We're building something special in Port St. Lucie, a safe, beautiful, and prosperous city for all people. And currently, we find ourselves, back then, the beginning of 2020, reflecting on 2019. And currently, we find ourselves in one of those incredible moments of time where our team's commitment to working hard, smart, and together on a strategic blueprint for our future is really starting to pay off. Our 2019 was exceptionally good. And we're lucky to have many compelling narratives. We're the safest large city in Florida. We have one of the highest rates of home ownership. And according to U.S. News & World Report, we're one of the best places to live near a beach. We're one of the best places to retire. And we're the 23rd most desirable place to live in the entire country. And I went on to say, as you may be aware, a lot happened in 2019, and we made great strides in carrying out our strategic plan. We opened up the Crosstown Bridge, lowered our tax rate and debt for the 4th year in a row, kicked off a decade's worth of infrastructure improvement projects, thanks to the citizens' approval of the half-cent sales tax, started pumping water into the first phase of the McCarty Ranch Water Quality Project, witnessed the Southern Groves Job Corridor roar to life. And there's a lot more. And do you remember those good old days, those good old pre-COVID 19 days? The momentum and energy that we had going were cranked past 10, and my words now can't do them justice, can't do that moment justice. But hopefully, turning to our award-winning communications department, we can take a step back in time and feel what that was like. I'd like to welcome you to a celebration 40 years in the making. What a great day that was. The opening of your Crosstown Bridge.
Welcome to Camco's grand opening celebration. This is quite a day, isn't it?
Presented to the New York Mets and the Wilpon family for your help in building a better Port St. Lucie.
We're getting a Riverwalk boardwalk. We're getting the Botanical Gardens Historic Village. We're getting a waterfront restaurant. Are we ready to kick this off?
propagation center, because then that gives us.
Citizen Summit is nice. It's necessary. We can see all the different areas of the city, different things that we need to improve. We can give our opinions in terms of what we think will make our city a better place, not only to live, but to be entertained and to have fun. So it's a great opportunity to do that.
It was a much different time. And you can immediately tell from the lack of social distancing and all of the video and the photos. And I can't tell you how many times I've been drawn back over and over again to the thought that we were in a special moment of time. And that was part of my talking points. And because while we couldn't know what would happen shortly thereafter, my point in stating that we were in a special moment of time was to motivate us to seize it. Because moments are fleeting by their very nature and should never be squandered, because life has a way of changing without notice. And we received a historic reminder of this difficult truth in early 2020.
The first confirmed U.S. case of the contagious coronavirus.
Tragic news, the first coronavirus death in the United States.
For the first time since the summer, Florida has seen a spike of more than 10,000 new COVID-19 cases in a single day.
St. Lucie County is taking extra steps to deal with coronavirus and to stop large gatherings. The county has issued a stay-at-home order that goes into effect this weekend.
Congressman Mast, and we know you've been working hard through this whole pandemic as you've worked I feel like your whole career in public service, but thank you for joining us.
What I'd add to that, and I thank you for letting people know that those services are very much still there.
We wanted to take some time today to talk about some of the resources available to assist businesses during the COVID-19 emergency.
You know, we have to take care of our nurses and our staff and all that's helping us, and I think that's really very important. We have to try and just stay safe. We're all in this together, you know? We're all in it together. We have to look after each other.
Raise your right hand and swear.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, Daniel. This is Councilman Rollout. I was just calling to see how your afternoon is going so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always really nice to meet you. I want you to feel free to call me anytime.
Welcome, everyone, to the 2020 Virtual Hurricane Seminar.
Tell you what, next year, let's all get together. In the meantime, we'll do it this way.
I would like to invite Mayor Oravec to come forward for his words of welcome.
It's an honor to welcome you to a virtual ceremony in our very real and beautiful Veterans Memorial Park.
I just want to thank you all on behalf of the city and our council for all the hard work that you are doing in protecting our citizens and trying so hard to protect yourselves and your coworkers as well.
I hope this opens up a lot of eyes to show that we need to do this every day, not just in case of an emergency.
We know this is a really tough time. I'm sure it's been really, really hard on your families. And this is just a little way where we can say thank you.
Obviously, everyone in this room knows, and across the city, COVID's upended life as we know it. And across the world and in the United States, 2020 went into the books as a historically bad year. We've lost a lot of people, and to be frank, we'll lose more still before the vaccines can be properly deployed. On top of the pain of loss, the fatigue associated with sickness, the fear of catching it, the heartbreak of losing so many of life's special occasions and everyday interactions, many of our friends, family, and neighbors have lost their jobs or had their hours cut. If that wasn't enough, we've had an incredibly contentious election cycle that reveals and continues to reveal how polarized we've become. And I fear that in the end, this may be an even more insidious and enduring threat than the coronavirus, because when we identify with the tribe of political party before and at the expense of being an American first, I worry that we really could lose our way as a nation. In addition to these larger forces here locally in PSL, we've seen truly horrific tragedies involving families and young people, terrible things that don't usually happen in our hometown and that no family should have to go through. Accordingly, I feel it's very important that we acknowledge this loss, pain, and suffering, and to let the people know, especially the people watching, if you've suffered in 2020 or are hurting right now for these or other reasons, we want you to know that you're not alone or forgotten. Your council and I, your neighbors, your public servants, we're here for you. And if you think that we can be of assistance, if you think we can help you overcome the challenges you're facing, please do not hesitate to contact us at 772-871-5159 or 871-1PSL. Because as bad as 2020 was, and as daunting as some of our larger challenges may be, I still believe that we can move forward, overcome our challenges, and build a better tomorrow by working hard, smart, and together. The images we just saw, they may have shown some of the hardships associated with the pandemic, but also on display is our community's resiliency and resolve. Our healthcare professionals, teachers, essential workers, first responders, church groups like Christ Fellowship, and service organizations like the Treasure Coast Food Bank kept showing up and never let us down. In PSL, in spite of the global pandemic and local tragedies, good things have continued to happen thanks to our collective resiliency and resolve, because our citizens, hardworking public servants, and institutions have pulled together and not apart, and because we've remained committed to a defined vision and to the implementation of a strategic plan for our future, a plan born of and updated annually by citizen input, a citizen summit, a scientifically valid citizen survey, citizen, 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 and an award-winning public planning process. This is our strategic plan. It's obviously very detailed, has 7 overarching goals. And with this video, we just hope to show you how much happened this last year, starting with course number 1, Safe, Clean, and Beautiful. There's the championship belt right there. If this wasn't such a serious event, I'd give you like a Ric Flair woo right there for the
Can you drive the speed limit? Because I walk in the dark to my bus stop.
Always looking for litter volunteers in the fight against litter. And remember, in PSL, you got a shot at a free tree at least twice a year. I wanted to put say my name right there, but the communications department wouldn't let me do it. Remember that we have 36 neighborhoods in the city of Port St. Lucie. You do not have to call your neighborhood Section 35 anymore.
Some of us might get different stuff, so you have to remember suggestions or improvements.
There's our property appraiser. Neighborhood parks, a lot of neighborhood parks are being worked on. There's all those neighborhoods.
We appreciate you coming out this morning. Synergy, there's not enough ways to say thank you.
Synergy donated a house to a Gold Star family, and here they come now, the Hines family.
Is going to be receiving a beautiful home. I'm incredibly honored to be involved in a year that's been very trying for many people. This
That's
is a
Strapping
good
Lads
thing.
at Treasure Coast High School.
More good things to happen.
Go Titans. We try to partner with our school district, which is a separate governmental entity in St. Lucie County.
Higher quality can sometimes depend on higher population. How do you get more people to come to Port St. Lucie?
So you want to make sure there's things to do for the residents, and in order to have things to do, you need a job so that you can pay for the things to do.
And to get a good job, you need a good education. And So and there's a couple pathways, don't have to go to university, but you do need a skill if you don't go to the university route. We're going to talk about economic development a little bit later. Definitely a highlight. That was Oculus. That's A&G Concrete Pools, one of the top 50 pool builders in the country. Now have their new home in LTC Ranch Industrial. They're being joined by Total Trucks.
There's a need in the community. Our community comes together to overcome that obstacle.
Now more than ever,
Oh, look at that. There's Lynette and Representative Trabulsi at the Treasure Coast Business Summit. One of the many small business activities we have here in PSL. On infrastructure, we all want it, PSL Boulevard South. A lot of residents want more transit too. We know what that is. We might not know what that is. That's McCarty Ranch, everyone. That's where 10 billion gallons of water are going to be kept out of polluting your St. Lucie River. Alton Road's a county road. We'd really like to see them improve it. That is not your city catching measles, mumps, or rubella. That is all of your sidewalk and repaving projects coming online over the last year thanks to the half cent. A little before and after action up there in Torino. Long-awaited project. Once upon a time, the city council at the time decided to do Becker before Floresta, and it took more than a decade to come back, thanks to the Great Recession. Selvets and Bayshore. Hopefully you've gotten a chance to drive that. What a beautiful addition to the neighborhood.
Florida Event Center presents 4 nights, 6 amazing performances.
Come Sail Away is the song I know. Mountain Dew or a Red Bull, feel free to call us. And there's some award-winning girls there. Soccer and volleyball.
Here to formally celebrate the grand opening of your Winter Lakes Park. Well, let's make it happen.
Congratulations, everybody.
I think you can tell the difference between pre-COVID events and post-COVID events.
Here today to honor our veterans, past, present, and those yet to serve. We are delighted to bring to you this Veterans Day an added tribute to honor our veterans with the dedication of a Blue Star Memorial Marker.
That's on Crosstown. So obviously Crosstown is great, but can be made even greater. Budget Advisory Committee, here, this one's for you. 5th year in a row of lowering the city's property tax rate, the only one that we control. A little listening session on the Forum on Race and Relations and Inclusion. In our spare time, we work with the Humane Society and Caring Citizens to save it.
Today, but if we could all just congratulate, commend, and thank him for his service.
Saying goodbye to the good doctor.
Thank you all for being in attendance. It's been a pleasure working with this team at the dais here, and of course with all of our citizens.
Do you solemnly swear you will faithfully perform all the duties of a city council member of the
city of Port St. Lucie?
I do.
I will. Congratulations.
That's a special moment. I'm glad to have you back and happy to welcome you. Thanks for hitting the ground running. And I can only hope that these highlights hint at the great work that occurred in spite of a historically bad year, that they give you a sense of pride in our community and suggest that our future is still bright. The COVID-19 may have left us bowed, but we are unbroken. We're still actively building an even safer, more beautiful, and more prosperous city for all people. Crime rate went down 3% and change last year, Chief? What was the last stat? I think that's what I read. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, to anyone needing more evidence, I submit the following exhibits. Last year, in a historically challenging 2020, our city grew to 202,908 residents according to the state of Florida, and we should expect the census number, which the community did a great job in its response, by the way, and Mr. Manager, the team did a great job of supporting that response. We should expect the census number to be even higher. We had 3,695 new single-family home starts. That's what, some counties do in 5 years, and a bad year in Port St. Lucie. We saw the average annual wage increase. And while it's true that our current unemployment rate is 5.8% rather than the 3.1% it was pre-COVID, we should recognize that 5.8% is still very nearly what we consider quote-unquote full employment. And we have been through much worse. For much of the Great Recession and all the way through 2014, we saw double-digit unemployment rates in our community. So knock on wood, so far, strictly from the recession standpoint and the economic standpoint, this is nothing compared to what we saw from the Great Recession. We can and we will get through COVID, and as we turn our attention to continuing our march forward into 2021 and beyond, please know that our near-term priorities are specifically articulated by our strategic plan, which you can find at cityofpsl.com/strategic plan. And here once again, Mr. Bernard, we have more information than we have time. So tonight, let me just shine a spotlight on two of our greatest strategic priorities and opportunities, the kind of opportunities that only come along once in a generation or longer. And I hope the videos help prove the point. This is our opportunity. Southern Grove. Less than 1% of the city's land area into more than 10% of its total value in one place. This is the place to have a walkable, live, work, play environment. This is the place where our kids will grow up, learn, and go to work. The answer is yes to that question, if you could read it.
We are honored and privileged to have had an opportunity to work with the city on this property. It's not just a significant piece for the city of Port St. Lucie. This is a significant piece for the Southeast Florida region. They don't have a lot of comparable properties like this in the region. This process has been the example of how to do this scale of planning well. COVID-19 presented itself partway through the effort. We didn't miss a step, and we actually met all the timeframes with respect to planning at the northern end. The town center district we've identified, of course it has the town center, but it also has a lot of infill opportunity. The recommendation is to allow that area to infill to become a more robust town center on the scale of what Port St. Lucie needs as a town center, given your population currently and projected going forward. The second district, of course, the biohealth district, themed by Cleveland Clinic and the biomedical uses coming in around that user. And the third is the workplace district, which is to the south that takes the balance of the site.
I can tell you the building is one of a kind. It has state-of-the-art lab spaces, support spaces. I think it's honestly, ideally, or perfectly suited for research, what we are doing, molecular research.
certainly have not worked with a city that has been more cooperative and easy and fun to work with than your city. It's very pro-business. You care about your community, and you care about the impact that this project is going to have on the community.
1,000 jobs fits in a block festival?
Hey, do I roll this across?
Oh, that is a great gift there. Good. Don't crash it, Vice Mayor.
So it's very small,
Very good.
but we're pleased to announce FedEx Ground and their regional sort facility would very much love to come to the city of Port St. Lucie, along with Sansone Group at Legacy at Tradition.
So to Gil Smart and anyone else who would ask, will Southern Groves attract jobs? Please be sure to let him know that the answer is yes, as has already been answered by the one and only Cleveland Clinic, who's under contract to purchase an additional approximate 48 acres around the hospital, ensuring that that will be a healthcare destination of national and hopefully international significance for the foreseeable future. It's answered by the Florida Research and Innovation Center, by Florida International University, who invested in Torrey Pines, by Kaiser University, by City Electric, which now lights up our nighttime sky, by hopefully Oculus sometime soon, Mr. Blackburn, by Excel Holdings International, a group that puts the wires into spaceships and airplanes, and by FedEx. And FedEx is just the first of the Sansone Group's projects. There's another codename project that we can't reveal yet, but it's in the works. It's on track. And just today, moving forward, we have another codename project. So the future is very bright in Southern Grove. And I'd like you to take a few things away, not only the movement, not only the names that are involved, but how that project came to be. I want you to remember that in 2004 is when that land, that Grove land, came into the city as part of the greater annexation areas. And we actually brought in the Urban Land Institute, ULI, to study the area, work with our community, come up with a master plan, shape the future. And it happened. It was a great plan. But what happened in the intervening time? We had a great recession. There was a depression here locally. And that future that was so bright, it was lost for a while. And actually, the property itself, the owner of the property, was the former bank that financed the development. So the owner went under, the bank took it on, the lender. They held it, they tried to do their best. They made tax and assessment payments for years, tried to market it, but had such a terrible time with it that they eventually gave the city 7 figures and the property to walk away. The property was upside down. And that's when in 2018, your city of Port St. Lucie, we stepped into the shoes of the owner-developer. We became the owner of 1,200 plus acres along the I-95 corridor. And you can see what we've been able to do by working hard, smart, and together with the market and with partners like the EDC and St. Lucie County and others to bring the original vision to life. It was delayed, but not stopped. And I hope that you take pride in what we're accomplishing. And it's important because think of Southern Grove and how we're turning liability and potential into something special, and apply that to City Center. Because on the east side of town, in our community redevelopment area that was established in 2001, we have the same thing happening on just a smaller scale. It's a smaller property, but the dynamics are the same. And the city's been working even longer to make something happen there, as this video is definitely going to let you know.
The demolition of the Village Green Shopping Plaza has finally begun. Mayor Minsky, this is actually one of the last big events. You're retiring. We've just elected a new mayor, and this is one of your last big events. Quite a bang and quite a big way to end your 5 terms as mayor.
It is, and we've been looking forward to this. It seems like half the time I've been as mayor, we were looking forward to getting this done. But this is, I wouldn't say it was an eyesore when it was built, but it was so dysfunctional. And for years and years, we've missed so many opportunities by not having something like what we're going to put here. So many cities were not designed to be functional in today's economy. And we had this big piece of property, and it was dysfunctional, and so we were losing a lot of quality of life venues that our citizens would have loved to have. Instead, they always had to go somewhere else to do their shopping, to socialize and things like that. So we're going to try to remedy that, and we're going to try to give them something that's going to make them happy and contribute to a higher quality of life. That's what being in office is all about, is making it better than the way you found it when you got in.
Those words are as true today as they were then, obviously, from our good friend, Mayor Minsky. May he rest in peace.
At City Center has been a constant that we really haven't totally figured out. And tonight I'd like to propose to you a strategy that I believe is the right strategy. City Center is one of your strategic objectives. The whole US 1 corridor is very important to our city. What I'm recommending to you and requesting is that you authorize me, working with the city attorney, to negotiate a purchase and sale agreement with the Securities and Exchange Commission receiver for the purchase of the 22 parcels that constitute City Center. And it puts the city in a position to be the master developer. So now we'll be able to determine through our vision how to best use, for the public's benefit, including redevelopment, that whole 28 acres.
Councilman Carvelli?
Yes.
Mayor Oravec?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Martin?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilwoman Carballo?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
I do think this is the beginning of the last chapter. I think we now have it in our control, and we can fulfill our destiny.
So, Mr. Manager, when will that contract return to City Council? Soon. All right, we're going to have to get more specific on that answer, sir. Provided the contract is approved, look for us to follow the same basic blueprint that we've been following in Southern Grove. Public master planning, marketing, sales and construction of projects and improvements. And as part of our master planning effort, I'm going to call on us and try to ensure that the proposed development is supported by the market, and the market will choose to build those uses there rather than, say, the landing in tradition. This time it cannot be pie in the sky. This time it has to be what the community wants and the market will support, because this time we must succeed. It has to get done. City Center has to be more than apartments. It needs to fulfill our community's vision, be market feasible, and get done. And for anyone that reviewed the City Center proposal at the time that when we were just watching, and how could we spend $400,000 to acquire it? 25 plus acres on US 1. How could we not spend $400,000 to acquire it when we lose that much in taxes, unpaid taxes, assessments, and opportunity every year? What's the value of the time that we've waited while the former property owner went under, the bank postured to take over but didn't, the next property owner came in, acquiring the project subject to taxes and assessments, only to allegedly defraud foreign investors to the extent that all of her assets, including this property, were liquidated, except this one couldn't be liquidated by the SEC receiver. It's been marketed, it's been under contract a couple of times, but it's remained upside down, and credible developers have walked away. Letting this property sit, wasting potential, is unacceptable. $400,000, $500,000, Mr. Manager, is a small price to pay for something to finally happen at City Center. And I know that working hard, smart, and together, we can follow the recipe that we've established in Southern Grove. And the thing is about projects like this, these generational opportunities, they don't happen in isolation. They have spin-off benefits. In conjunction with City Center, we'll see the beautification of US 1. And as a community, it's my hope that we define our expectations for the improvement of St. Lucie County's Walton Road and whether or not Walton Road should be extended to the beaches. That long desired, previously talked about, previously funded on a preliminary basis, bridge to the island. Moving beyond these generational opportunities in our strategic plan, I'd like to discuss 5 challenges that we'll have to meet, I believe we'll have to meet in the days and months ahead. But before I do, I'd like to set the stage by sharing some of the things that I, and hopefully all of us, love about PSL. And we have so many, you've heard this before. You have heard this before, but we probably had 5,000 people, well actually probably 10,000 plus people move here since the last time I gave a speech like this. Before they haven't learned about the city in the same way that the people in the audience have, that we were incorporated in this is our story, incorporated in 1961. Our city's come a long way in a short time. Originally marketed around the world, and especially the Northeast, as a retirement haven. We've gone from a sales pitch, a GDC sales pitch, and bedroom community where only 330 people lived in 1970 to an award-winning full-service city that is home to more than 202,000 and counting. I got to update that every time I do the speech. We're lucky to have so many things to love about Port St. Lucie, and that's why you will sometimes hear me refer to us as Port St. Luckies. And really, as a side note, if we could decide what we should call ourselves, like Port St. Luckies, Port St. Lucians, Port St. Lucie's, we've never answered that fundamental question, and it would really help me out in times like this. We're blessed by natural resources that epitomize the Florida lifestyle. We still have what makes Florida, Florida. We're the safest large city. We like to say that. We like to live that. We're a large and growing city with an increasing number of citizens, amenities, and opportunities, and we've kept our friendly hometown feel. We have one of the highest rates of home ownership in the country. One of my favorite things, we're a melting pot, where people of all races and ethnicities live together. And based on these and other strengths, I've often thought that what makes Port St. Lucie most special is that we're a place where the American dream is alive and well. And just as an essential element of the American dream is the belief that a good life will be even better for our children in the next generation, I believe that an essential element of PSL is our great promise. For all that there is to love, our best is yet to come. And this passion, pride, and love for our city fuels an optimism, hopefulness, and belief in me, and hopefully you, that we will succeed in implementing our strategic plan, we will succeed in meeting any challenges that come our way, and that we will succeed in fulfilling our community's great promise. At the same time, to do that, we have to always remain honest and transparent. And we sometimes need to talk about things that people need to know, not just what we want to hear. So let me specifically identify some of the challenges I think we're going to face as we continue on our path to prosperity. Number one, there's no way around it. I know you'd like it all to be different. COVID-19. It didn't magically go away when the calendar changed. In fact, the numbers spiked to an all-time high following the holidays. That happened. Fortunately, we're at a point now where the vaccination rollout has begun. Unfortunately, supply in the process hasn't caught up with demand. Here in the city, our citizens are frustrated. We're frustrated because we're not leading the process. The vaccination rollout in the state of Florida is being carried out by the governor through the public health departments of Florida's 67 counties. And previously they were working with hospitals, but as we've seen, they've shifted. In addition to the private providers that the federal government identified, CVS and Walgreens, the governor has expanded the partnership with Publix. And it was good news that just this week, the governor announced, and today, this morning, I believe at 6 o'clock, our citizens for the first time were able to try to register for an appointment in one of 11, I believe, or so, Publix locations in St. Lucie County. The bad news, of course, again, is that those slots were filled up like that. And even though it's hard, we're going to have to remain patient as that supply and the process ramps up, and as the production of the vaccine on a national level is better distributed to the states and the process becomes more predictable, because we don't really have an alternative. And we have to take heart in the silver lining that at least our seniors are lining up to get vaccinated, because for this to work, for us to follow through on this end game, enough of us have to get the vaccine to establish herd immunity. Without that, this goes on forever. None of us want that. Doesn't matter if you worry about the public health aspect the most or the economy the most. The way back for all of us is vaccination. Here at the City of Port St. Lucie, we try to work from the edges and influence the process. We advocate. We ask the governor through Representative Trabolsi's office and other offices to expand it. We're very grateful that it did expand. We've offered our facilities, resources, ingenuity. We've offered to buy freezers. We've offered anything we can to help the state and this very essential mission. And we're going to continue to keep you posted at cityofpsl.com/COVID-19. Number 2, the political divide in an increasingly uncivil society. We have to do what we can as citizens in local government to heal our nation's society. We are a nonpartisan government. We are the government closest to the people, and we have personal relationships with thousands of our citizens. We are a community that takes pride in being a city for all people. We seem uniquely positioned to find ways to de-escalate tensions, to really hear each other, identify common ground, and when necessary, disagree without being disagreeable. We shouldn't demonize a fellow American because they want to solve a problem differently than us. Let's find a way to cool the temperature, to walk back from that. And let's figure out how to translate these worthwhile hopes and thoughts into action across the political and social spectrums. Number 3, at City Hall, we need to stay dedicated to our values and virtuous continuous improvement and to guard against complacency. We've had some success. It's been going now for a while. And we have to be careful that we don't become the status quo, that we don't stop pushing. And this can mean many things. But here tonight, let me suggest that we have to stay objective, accountable, and transparent. We can't fall into that trap of rationalizing or justifying the status quo or the next big thing if we're missing the mark on what we're doing now or what we should be doing now. That before we expand services or take on exciting new initiatives, let's make sure we're doing the basics even better. That if we have our one PSL system and the data, let's make sure we use it. And for example, if our one PSL system tells us that stormwater is our number 1 citizen complaint by far, it's time to fix it. And yes, it costs money. But let's do what we've done through our strategic planning process. Let's study the problems, plan the solution, break the solution into meaningful pieces or projects, prioritize them, and do what we can every year until the problems are solved. We're making great progress in ramping up our repaving program, but I would ask us to repave more roads faster. It's one of the easiest and most obvious ways to let our citizens know that we're working for them. We're building a better Port St. Lucie, and we're keeping our promises on sales tax. This one's tough. You got to confront it. Over the last 18 months, we've let the Saints take a turn into the rough. We didn't have the sense of urgency we should have in dealing with decline and problems with management. We need to correct this specific issue and then ensure that we apply the painful lessons to every department and with every project. Number 4, and this is a big one, manage growth. So growth that meaningfully adds to our quality of life should be encouraged. Growth that diminishes our quality of life should be discouraged. And the impacts of all growth must be managed. It sounds really simple, right? It's that simple, isn't it, Councilwoman? But most of us recognize it's not for a number of reasons, which include the concept of good and bad development is subjective, means different things to different people. There are so many impacts of growth, including every single one of our strategic priorities. Priorities like transportation, multimodal, aesthetics, planning, water, sewer, stormwater, every single one. And we must honor land development laws and entitlements. However, the complexity doesn't make it any less essential. And in the end, I believe that our overall success will be measured by our success in maintaining and enhancing what makes PSL special now. A community feel, the safety, the home ownership, the natural amenities, the open space, while simultaneously improving the things that have held us back in the past. Lack of planning, lack of infrastructure, lack of jobs, lack of transit. Which brings me to number 5. How will we deal with these challenges? And what I would submit to you is the same way we deal with all of our opportunities and everything else that comes our way, by working hard, smart, and together. PSL is your city. Be a part of it. Be proud of it. There are countless opportunities to be an active part of making Port St. Lucie an even better place. We have a city university program, Citizen Summit, Citizen Survey, countless workshops and public meetings that help shape our future. Boards and committees. We have several committee members here tonight. Volunteer positions. The city manager is always hiring good people. That list, how you can be involved, goes on and on. Police Citizens Academy. Our city is in your hands, and you will help us decide if we write the next great chapter in our community success story. In the meantime, I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that the state of our city is resilient and still growing. We're meeting historic challenges. We're poised to realize generational opportunities. We will overcome COVID, and our best is yet to come. Really, thank you for being here under such unusual circumstances. Thank you for caring about PSL. And may God continue to bless you and our city. I'll be back in 10 minutes for a question and answer. Thank you very much. And we're back. We are back. I can't say to a packed chambers crackling with energy. It was hard. It was hard tonight with the state of the city because we are in the COVID age still. But I am thankful for your questions. We have questions that came in from the audience, but they were kind enough to type them right here up on the board with our online viewers. And so let's go to Sandy Corriveau. I will second that I wish the Riverwalk connected both sides, but it's beautiful, as is the Botanical Gardens. Thank you. Sandy, boy, do we have good news for you. And I just am sorry that we can't control the timeline a little bit better, but the 2 boardwalks will in fact meet under Port St. Lucie Boulevard Bridge. And why they haven't to date is because the bridge is actually an improvement that is maintained by one Florida Department of Transportation. And said bridge underneath the embankment has to be repaired. And if we would have connected it now, FDOT would have required us to pay for taking out the boardwalk when they fix the bulkhead. Instead, we're asking them to expedite the bulkhead. I think we'd even be willing to lend them money if they would promise to pay it back. But it is coming. Mr. Blackburn, what do you say, 2 years? 2 years, it will connect. Furthermore, we expedited the southern portion there to the preserve. And I bet after part of this strategic planning session in our next budget year, I bet we're going to expedite the northern section to connect to the promenade. And the promenade is where Hurricanes is and where a great Portuguese restaurant is. I highly recommend that you go there and have the shrimp. So that promenade project will be connected, as will our Rivergate boat ramp right there, Veterans Rivergate Park. So that will all be connected by boardwalk also. And this is a great opportunity to let you know about the port project. And we're going into the master planning process. So please be part of planning the Port District. That's formerly known as the Riverwalk District. So the Port District, it's going to amenitize and come up with a master plan for the whole district, not just the Botanical Gardens, not just Pioneer Park and the boardwalk and the restaurant and the preserve, but Bridge Plaza, all the way up essentially to Lingate Park. So if you see something on our website about master planning the port, that's something we definitely want you and our residents to be a part of. There's only one St. Lucie River. It's one of the most special natural resources in the world. We're lucky to have it, and we can do a lot better loving it and recreating on it. And the sky's going to be the limit with the port plan. In fact, not that I'm trying to seed the process or anything, but I think there's real opportunity at Bridge Plaza. Bridge Plaza is where McDonald's is and Lefty's, and historically, it's kind of wedged in there. Well, they still have one vacant parcel, and now the back of it opens onto the Botanical Gardens. Wouldn't it be something if we could get the property owner or successor property owner to redevelop Bridge Plaza to put outdoor seating, not on the little parking lot, but on the Botanical Gardens with tiki torches, overlooking that beauty and being connected by the boardwalk? That would be something. I hope we can make that and many more things happen. So that was a long answer to your question that yes, they'll be connected. All right. What order do you want me to go? Erica Baker, when is the next Citizen Summit? When can I fill out the citizen survey? Sarah Prohaska. February 1st on the citizen survey, the online version. So always remember that the statistically significant, scientifically valid survey is actually mailed through a process, but that the online survey that we provide for everyone to fill out, it's just not scientifically normalized, is going to be online this year starting February 1st. So check out cityofpsl.com and check it out there. And the Citizen Summit? So it looks like we're going virtual, and I'm hoping we're going to do some pop-up events outside in conjunction with that. So the challenge is, how can we do as much as possible safely? And the great outdoors provides us a way to do that. So stay tuned to cityofpsl.com, and then also check out cityofpsl.com/strategic plan. And we'll lock in all the dates. There's going to be more than one event there. But March 2nd is the big virtual day.
And then March 6th is the pop-up event at Winter Lakes Park.
March 6th is the pop-up event at our brand spanking new Winter Lakes Park.
And March 13th is another pop-up event at our Hazardous Household Waste Day.
So it sounds like we're going to be running pop-up events at a lot of our other events. So just check that out, and hopefully one's going to sync up with your calendar. But we'll have the big virtual event. And I can't wait till we get back to normal, obviously, for a million reasons. But for me, one of the great joys is the annual Citizen Summit, and I'm going to miss getting together with everyone there. That is a lot of energy in that room. Can I have an update on PSL Boulevard South? Well, I knew this question would be asked, so I made sure I brought the official update that we just received last week. And so this project is broken up into different phases. And if we think of Gatlin South all the way to Becker, the different phases. And so we're going to get going here on the beginning, Darwin to Gatlin, any day now. And Alcantara to Darwin is going to follow. And then we're going to go Par Drive to Alcantara. And what we have to work on, but what I know this city council is dedicated to succeeding in, is making sure it then continues from Par Drive to Becker. And so one of the challenges here is we're working with the Florida Department of Transportation. And the good thing is that they bring money to the table so that our taxpayers don't have to pay for all the improvements. And the section is really quite beautiful. Do we have a cityofpsl.com/PSL Boulevard South?
We do.
And we're going to put that in the link so you can just hit it and check out the page and see the section with the multimodal trail that's separated from the drive surface. So highly functional, feels safe and fun, great way to get around outside of a car, and it'll have the project timeline. And what's interesting is just over the last week, that first section, first or second, depending on how you want to think about it, we were previously going to have to lend FDOT money to build it. And unfortunately, because of the drastic cuts to the state budget, they had to pull the program that allowed us to lend them money, interestingly enough. But they found a way to fund it in their work program and keep it on this schedule. And Sarah, I gave you this schedule earlier today. Can you provide this as a JPEG or what do you have? Yeah, we'll update the website and we'll provide you the link, Lynn. So that's a huge issue. Lynette Beretta Marafa says, hi, Mayor Oravec. Can you please provide us an update on the Adventure Park concept and planning? Yes, absolutely. Well, we just had a council meeting and we finalized the concept. And I can't do it justice in words. You got to check out the conceptual plan, the graphic, to see all the different elements. So it has basically bike and board sports. So it has BMX, it has mountain biking, it has pump tracks for the kids. It has a skate park. And really, the fundamental idea for this goes all the way back and connects to when we had to close our skate town park out at Whispering Pines. And ever since then, the city's been without a skate park. And finally, we're outside of the Great Recession, had the ability to see this renaissance blossom in our Parks and Recreation Department with our Parks Master Plan. And our Adventure Park is one of the first improvements in that. So now that the conceptual plan, and the conceptual plan includes so much. Like I said, you got to check out the plan. Rock climbing, bouldering, something I am personally very excited about, flow riders. It has an amphitheater and stage that can actually play to the different venues. It has a ropes course. Of course it has a playground also, but it is just, I think it's going to be a top 10 destination. It's really special. And so the challenge when you dream a dream this big is to make sure that you can afford to build it and afford to operate it and maintain it. And so now the challenge that we have a concept is for staff to come back with the feasibility, operations, and funding plan to make sure that we can pull it off. We can pull off this maneuver, if you will, at the level of excellence that we expect and that we want to provide to you. So look for that to come back later this year. But please check out the concept and make sure you share, or please ask that you share it with the community. There's a lot of people excited about it. And what was interesting is that historically, with a story that we saw in the newspaper on the adventure park, we would hear a lot just about a certain amount of money. And in this case, we heard a lot from residents who said, this is the time, we need facilities like this. We think that Port St. Lucie is special and we want to see that level of investment. So it's interesting, we're going to continue to have that community conversation and hopefully leverage grants in the private sector and our resources to bring it to life. All right, Mr. Mayor, can you add any specific detail to the work or vision for the entertainment arts area of Southern Grove? Additionally, any opportunity to bring Bright Line trains to PSL? All right, so this is a 2-for-1 special. And what I'd say is look for a greater description in the Southern Grove Master Plan. And that's being finalized as we speak. Look for that to be provided at cityofpsl.com/Southern Grove. And on that page, you'll find the master plan, and it'll explain in detail all the concepts. But what I think you're going to find is that the master plan recognized that we had a once-in-a-city opportunity, once-in-a-city lifetime opportunity, to have jobs, the jobs that our city never had, essentially from the Cleveland Clinic destination south all the way to now Becker Road where FedEx is going. And that was a real opportunity for manufacturing, office, research and development, and the greater entertainment and arts opportunity was north of the intersection at the landings, recognizing the landings hasn't filled out the way that we would all hope, and that there was additional land and opportunity there, that the landings that exist now could be very easily turned into a lifestyle center with the entertainment and arts uses that make a lifestyle center go. And in fact, one, Councilwoman Carballo, who's still here, well, we can't have two-way conversation right now, unfortunately. But we can have one way, and she's here, and I just want to recognize her because she's advocated for the arts uses as part of that greater landings lifestyle center, or really a downtown feel. It's going to have that park once vibe to it with the arts and entertainment retail uses. So look for that at the landings, and look for the city, just as we're enhancing and becoming more sophisticated with our beautification efforts. I think you're seeing the same thing in the arts efforts in general. And we recently reviewed an arts master plan. So if we don't have it, I know that our award-winning staff and communications are going to create a cityofpsl.com/arts. So if that doesn't work right this second, it's going to work soon. And we're going to have a link to the art master plan and all of the cool stuff we're doing with the arts. And there's I'm going to give a whole nother State of the City address, and I don't think the people in the audience necessarily want that. But what I want you to know is there's a lot of exciting and cool stuff in there. And I guess I can definitely take this off because I'm far enough away from everyone. But one of the things I'm most excited about, one of them, because there's many, is the interactive pieces. And also there's a proposal to do kind of a landmark. And I don't know exactly, we don't know what form it'll take, if it's like a Hollywood in the hills or what. But an IMPSL kind of thing that you could, I think would be special. So there's all kinds of great stuff in there. There's so much going on. I hope you took that away from the strategic plan part. There's so much going on that we don't have time to discuss everything, and it's good to come up with these different topics. And if you ever want to schedule a meeting and go into that in further detail, it would be great if you could read some of the background on the website, and then we can have a deep conversation about it and see if there's any opportunity for collaboration, brainstorming. As it relates to Brightline trains, here's the issue with Brightline. It doesn't go through the city. It touches the city in one place, and that's on Walton Road, which you might have heard me mention is a county road. And it's wedged between the river and the Savannah State Preserve. So there's real limited opportunity. The only way forward, because I like to brainstorm these things and dream up big dreams, is if the 4 lots that the city, which are in the city, not owned by the city, but within the city proper, at Walton and in River Drive, if Brightline or someone bought those lots and wanted to do a mixed-use project where they went vertical and had condos, they could also do a transit station. But I don't know how you fit parking in there. It's a very small area. It's wedged in. So it would definitely be challenged. And you're not going to be able to develop and infringe on a state preserve. So there's just not much room. Everywhere else in the city, there is no other connection, the Brightline tracks, to the city. That's it. That's where it touches. And because it goes directly through downtown Stewart and downtown Fort Pierce, that's why you're seeing those municipalities evaluate the opportunity. If we had a downtown, or if it touched more than 4 lots physically located but not owned by the city, in the city, I think you'd see a deeper conversation. Melissa Kincaid Stevenson, how about an update on Floresta's project, the pond at PSL and the park at Essex? So the Floresta project is in phases, and we could definitely get you a project schedule as it's updated and post it, or if you message us your contact information, we'll be happy to give you the details. Big picture, you can go to the city website. We have a project page for Floresta Drive that has the previous version of the schedule and also the general sequence, which is to start with that southern portion and then work our way north. And it's just going to proceed section by section until it's done all the way up Prima Vista Boulevard. Is there a timeline when Southern Grove will be complete? What I would say about Southern Grove is that it's going to evolve just like the city itself. And at first things will develop, and then over a 20-year cycle, they'll redevelop. And for as long as the city exists, and as long as there's growth in Florida, you're going to see Southern Grove evolve and change over time. Look for additional job development, economic development, and job creation in this cycle. We're, knock on wood, we're in a very good cycle for this light industrial space like the FedEx, and we have several more projects in the pipeline. Housing market remains robust. Retail is in the middle of a major evolution, of a shift. And retail as we know it was changing, and that change has been accelerated by COVID-19 and online shopping. So we're going to have to see what happens there. Is there a plan to market the empty retail space in tradition? Possible Trader Joe, Whole Foods, Apple, et cetera, large spaces ready to go. So this touches on something that is of great interest to all of us, and that is how corporations make real estate decisions and locate. And so the city itself, actually, we're not in that space as much as the property owners are. So in this case, you're probably talking about the landings primarily, which is a Kite Realty property. So you have a very large corporation that owns it. You have a large corporation that manages it, and they choose the tenants that want to go there based on the tenants that show interest and they can reach terms with based on the rent they're trying to charge, et cetera. And we don't really have a seat at that table other than to market the city as a whole. And because we know this is so important to you, we conduct an overall marketing effort in the past, have hired our own real estate professionals to market the city and our target locations in the city, including the landings at Tradition and other locations. We've tried to make connections with these large retailers. Here's one of the fundamental challenges. These retailers know their markets, they know their customers, they know their consumers, and they make decisions based on population and other demographic information like household income within a certain drive time of the location. And some of them get really sophisticated, are actually able to break down credit card and other data to know exactly how you spend your money. There's a reason why when you're online, you get the ads. Oh, look, I was just looking at those shoes. How did they know? They know all of that stuff. They know what you spend your money on. They know how many consumers just like you are in the target market area. And so we're at the cusp. We're on the verge, subject to, again, the big shift in retail, to getting some of these retailers we want, but we're not quite there yet. And it's always important to remember that while the city itself is big, at over 200,000, our market area is small relative to the market areas of these types of retailers. For example, 200,000 people in PSL, only 300 and change in all of St. Lucie County. Only 500 in the greater market area of Martin and St. Lucie County. Compare that to a Palm Beach over, roughly 1.5 million, or Broward approaching 2 million, or a Miami-Dade, and how all of those markets actually function as one super market, or the Orlando metro area, or the Tampa metro area. We do not have the same number of people or the same household income as those markets. And so we have to appropriately size our expectations, set our expectations. And I know it's frustrating for us. I think we're not far away from a Trader Joe type use. I would say that we are far away from an Apple unless they change their market strategy. It's once upon a time, IKEA was a very popular use, and I think they wanted 1 million people within a half-hour drive time. And there's a restaurant once upon a time that has a lot of calories in all its dishes, and that our community really wanted. And they needed 100,000 people making 100,000 a year within, their drive time. And, we're not, our market is not there yet. But we do go that extra mile of trying to market the whole city and even specific sites, even though that is the job of the private property owner. And then, of course, the retailers, restaurateurs to pick the sites. We went all out on Costco. And I've been in this business a long time. I've held a real estate license. I have been in development and redevelopment since 1996. I've gone to Vegas to the big ICSC shows, International Council of Shopping Center. I've done a number of deals. I personally have never rolled out the red carpet, and literally for Costco, like we did when we made a push for Costco, only to have them say no. It was disappointing, but it was based on that particular retailer's desire to be in a very specific market. And even with everything we had going for us, we couldn't move them from their decision. All right, we're good. So thank you so much for the online questions and for everyone sticking around. We appreciate you. And if you want to help build a better Port St. Lucie, please keep asking questions, and please be an active part of your community. And we hope that we get an application for you to serve on a board or committee, or you check out City University and do a deep dive on some of these topics. Many of the questions you asked here tonight are answered, and then you can help us reach even more citizens out there, because what I found is that no matter how much we're available to the public, no matter how many times we go to HOA meetings and do Facebook and newsletters, there's someone just always on the other side of that communication. We can never communicate enough. And the only way we can really do better at a massive scale is to leverage and get all of our citizens to be ambassadors for their city. So thanks again, Port St. Lucie, and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.